Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Schmidt Lavelle. My name is Tom Lavelle, and as always, I'm accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt.
Ah!
Yay! Folks, we got a great episode lined up for you tonight. But before we get to that, we want to thank you, the listener out there, the person that's listening, that's committed to tuning in every week to Schmidt and Lavelle. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you're not already doing it, now's the time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, hit something to get notifications. Hey, a new episode of Schmidt Lavelle's out. New episodes every week. We love you. We appreciate you listening. Please help us grow the show. Give us that follow. What do you say? Huh? Aren't we friends?
Come on.
Do
Just li-
it.
just listen.
Just listen. Everybody's doing it. You want to be part of the group, don't you?
Tell you what, we're getting people just coming up to us and going, man, I gave you guys a listen the other day and you guys got quite the chemistry there. You're doing pretty well. We
We're
like
doing
what we're
good.
hearing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. They like it. They like what they're hearing. So, yeah. I mean, to reiterate what Tom said, why don't you go ahead and give us a like, give us a subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, like we've always been saying. And let's get those listeners up and up and up, Tom, as you like to say.
Up.
And
It's up. We're up. Everything's up. Up, up, up. You know what, Timmy? I am not up right now. I am down. I'm downtown Julie Brown. My
ooh,
legs are killing me. My chest and my arms are sore. I told you, and I'll let the audience know, I recently got back into the gym. I know you're thinking, Tom got back into the gym. He seems so fit. He seems so cool. He seems so toned. Just kidding. If you watch the waxing video, you know that's not true. But I decided to get back in the gym with I guess we're at 16 months now, the 16-month-old. I haven't been to the gym since the baby's been born. Of course, I've made a lot of excuses not to go, but it's difficult getting to the gym in general, especially when you have two kids, one being a year old.
mm.
So I finally got to make that trek back into the gym, and I loved it. I liked being back in there. I was happy to be training and getting a little bit stronger. And these first days are great because you really feel it in your muscles. You know what I'm talking about, Tim? Like if you haven't been to the gym in a while, then you get back and you get like that initial soreness. With it's sore, but
Sure.
it's like a good sore. You're like, it's working. I'm doing
Yeah,
something.
Tom, what you're describing is what people say, you're feeling the burn right there, Tom.
Burn. Okay.
You're working your muscles that haven't been worked in quite some time. I mean, you're not a workout type of guy. You're more of a faster as we identified on the show. You like to fast. You just don't eat. You eat like a bird. You put
Well,
on you put on a hell of a you throw out your videos about cooking and you cook some nice dishes and stuff like that, but you prefer to fast rather than to work out.
I have done some fasts and I was a wrestler in high school and that kind of I was doing the intermittent fasting before intermittent fasting was cool to me, and I don't know if it was necessarily by choice, but when you have to make a certain weight, you don't eat.
Yeah, that's not fasting. That's called starving yourself.
Yes.
I've seen these individuals in college before. Psychos. Like wrestlers are nuts. They're just a different breed. I remember in college I was sitting in a steam room and there was three wrestlers in there in their
Mm.
tidy whities and they
Mm.
were sweating and they were working out. I was sweating out my alcohol. They were legitimately like doing push-ups and sit-ups and they had razor blades and they kept on using the razor blades and removing the sweat from their skin because they said the sweat would then
Let's seep back in or clog their
clog their
pores.
pores.
Ah.
So they were it's just nuts, man. But I mean that's a whole different avenue. But hopefully you're not doing that, Tom.
No. And let me tell you, if you haven't gotten to experience that, do yourselves a favor and get in there, grab a razor blade, go to your nearest steam room, sweat it out. But I feel like I'm sore. It's hard to get up and down the stairs. Down in particular is a little bit more difficult. You're walking down. I see. I'm not one of those people that shies away. The first thing I did day one was legs. A lot of times you'll see these people in the gym and they ignore doing legs. I'm not one of not saying that I have like great legs or anything, but I
No,
know that that's like the most important part to work out is your legs. Am I right on
yeah,
that, Timmy?
no, you're accurate. You're not one of those people to ignore legs. You just ignore the entire body for 16 months and then you do legs.
Yes. The entire body has been ignored and now I'm back.
I'm
Back.
not I'm not one of you people that go to the gym all the time and don't do legs.
I'm
I'm one
just
of
someone
those
that doesn't go to the gym.
and then I do legs, and then I make fun of you for not doing legs.
What's better, to not go at all or to go and not do legs?
I mean, I think you're onto something. Just don't go at all.
Yeah, that's what I should keep doing. Not going at all. No, I'm going back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be back in biceps, Timmy. Today was chest and triceps. Legs
Yeah.
was the day before. Back in buys, and then we'll get into shoulders the next time after that.
So who's putting this program together for you here, Tom?
Well, Timmy, I feel like you're falling under the assumption that I don't know how to work out.
I'm not, hey, listen, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
I don't
just
know. I don't
I'm
know.
I'm curious who's chaperoning you in your journey back to health. Is
Um,
it or is this you're just doing it yourself? Or
I'm
is this
doing it
a
myself. I've been in the gym enough to know routines and know how to do stuff that I was an everyday gymmer, Timmy, for quite some time. I still played soccer up until a year and a half ago and was running out on the field with young bucks 20 years old. And you
yeah.
know, that ain't the easiest thing to do.
No, no, it's not. I mean, look, I'm wishing you well in your journey. I just want to make sure that you have the proper attention, that
We should
people
do a
are.
training video, I think. I think maybe is this what we're getting at? We'll get into like a training
Oh,
video. We'll do some headbands we'll have on in there. We'll be in there stretching it out, that give me
look,
another rep.
it's no secret that I am also on my journey back to health here, Tom. And I've lifted a few weights in my lifetime, and I use my previous curriculums on that I go to the well on when I get back to the gym. So I use those. I don't know if you followed a weight program when you were that you know cut wrestler back in high school. Like you were just a gym rat, weren't you? That's what you told me.
Oh, Tim, I don't think, I mean, the schedule I had my senior year of wrestling, I don't think many people had that schedule. I mean, I don't know. We would wake up, we had morning practice where we would lift weights and then run stairs. Then we would go to school. After school, we would have evening practice. This is every day, Monday through Friday. We'd have evening practice. After that, on Mondays and Thursdays, we would drive to, for the listener out there, if you don't know, the Mecca, and I think we were talking about this week, the best wrestling in the country is located in Pennsylvania. We're the best state in the country as far as wrestling. Lehigh Valley, Western Pennsylvania. There's a lot of hotbeds of wrestling in Pennsylvania, and Lehigh Valley happens to be maybe the best in the country every year. So we would go train with those guys Mondays and Thursday nights after that. Wake up the next morning, do the same thing. I mean, this was a several month stretch. My team, we were Final Four in states. We lost to the eventual champions, but we were no slouches. I kind of know what I'm doing in the gym. My dad was a weightlifter in the army, boxed in the army. He actually I met uh George Pipisic, if you've ever heard of him. He
Ugh,
was a guy that helped invent weightlifting machines. My dad, when we lived in California, would go to his gym and actually spotted for Sylvester Stallone in that gym, believe it
how
or not.
about how about that?
Yeah, Mr. Ukraine, George Pipisic.
Sounds very Foxcatcher like, Tom. That little the training situation
Well,
you
let me
had.
tell you, one of our coaches was on Team Foxcatcher, believe it or not, and was with Mr. John DuPont the day before he shot Dave Schultz. And that's a whole nother story.
He was probably dropped the mister. You don't have to really address him like that. He was a despicable human being.
Yeah, well, clearly there was a screw loose. You know what I mean? Like some people are despicable human beings, but I wonder if it's, a matter of their brains just not being correct, which doesn't make it right, but like, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like, you can be a terrible person and kind of just be like this psycho. Your brain is off. It's not as bad as the person that's like knows everything that's going on and decides to be. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? What are we talking
Psychoville
about?
and it goes to the mayor.
Not that I'm some like amazing athlete, but I've spent a lot of time in the gym. I was never like a power lifter or anything like that, but we did some crazy workouts, that's for sure. Um, Either way, we got a lot to talk about on this week's show. Folks, a little rundown memory lane. Look at that. You're getting to know Schmidt Lavelle more
Uh,
and more each week. And Tim, let's get to some of our comments. You mentioned about the cooking, and I did put out a video this week of the lasagna that I had made. Now, Timothy, does lasagna count as a casserole? Would that be a casserole? Kind
no,
of like a casserole. No?
nope.
Why
Lasagna
not?
is its own dish, separate from a casserole. Um, yeah, no, that's it. That's all I have. Lasagna, it's a good dish. I've never look. I don't dive into casseroles all that often. Had a breakfast casserole. I think I've mentioned that on the pod before. But lasagna is a dish by itself. It's if it was a casserole, they'd probably say like I don't know, pasta casserole.
Well, it seems very similar to a casserole. You put all the stuff in a dish, you throw it in the oven, and you bake it. You know what I mean? I guess we're gonna have to look up like what defines a casserole,
You
you
throw a
know?
pie, you throw a pie in the oven, you bake it. Is that considered a casserole?
Right. Like what makes a casserole a casserole? You know what I mean? I mean, there's shepherd's pie. Would that be counted as a casserole? I guess, you know what? Maybe if your parents just called it something else when they made it, you would have liked it better, you know? Oh, here's some chicken and rice pie. Enjoy. I don't know. What other tuna noodle pie? So, from the comments from that video, thousands of views. That looks so effing delicious from Cupcheck 77. From Pam Chalk. You got drooly face emojis. From Bilal 925. Okay, this just isn't fair, but I'm inspired. That Eagles kid. Dot 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 dot. Bro. From S Madden 10. That looks like one of the best lasagnas I've ever seen. Great job. Well, we appreciate you. We're probably going to try to put out some more cooking videos. Whatever we're doing, we try to put out, here and there. A little issue today, another reason why I'm feeling down with my airdrop. I like to cut some clips, airdrop them, and then put them on the gram, on the IG, and my airdrop's not working. So now I got to figure that out. Nothing's going right today, Tim. My legs are sore, my chest is sore, our pets' heads are falling off.
It's not good right now, Tom. We got to bounce back. It's New Year. We're 3 weeks in here, Tom. We got plenty of time to turn it around.
That's right. And we will. All right. From our top five gods video. Now, Timmy, and let me ask you this. I was toiling with this. I didn't know what to do. Okay. We had that ridiculous comment that we went over last week about the guy saying, we'll see who's laughing and who's crying and begging to their God whenever blah, blah, blah goes down when we made a video about fries hitting us in the face and we were throwing buckets around, like whatever. And in my mind, I was like, should I put out us reading the clip? Like, should I have called the guy out, like posted a clip of us reading said comment and then laughing about it? Or should I kind of went past that because I don't know who the hell this guy is. You're gonna come to my work and try to like shoot me or something because we're laughing at his comment. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you're a former wrestler. You can handle yourself.
So do you want me to clip it and put it on there then? Should I do that?
mean, it's a public forum. He can comment on his stuff, and then we can go back at him. I don't understand what's the hold up here. Let's get the presses
All
going.
right,
Let's get it
all right.
moving.
So we will do that. We will publicly put our response on the gram. Maybe I'll even tag him in it. But that led us to our top five gods of all time. It was a sarcastic comment. It was a joke. We
Tongue in
weren't,
cheek.
yeah, we weren't really going to name, we all know the superior god. We don't have to name it the best
Yeah.
religion. We don't have to say it. You know it. I don't have to say it. So we were getting comments. I was getting messages from people saying, like, hey, I wouldn't talk about religion on the show. And it's like, that was our whole point. Is we're joking because we don't want to talk about religion, right, Tim?
Yeah, we could talk about religion.
Yeah. Like we could, but like we were just making a joke, like, how outlandish it is to say name the top five gods in the superior
Right,
religion.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And some
Yeah, I
people
mean,
were like, geez, this might be too far. And I'm like, really? Really? Like what?
yeah. If you know Schmidt Lavelle, we were clearly kidding around. We're not diving into those sectors, if you will. We're not getting involved in those controversial uh subject matter, if you will, right? Like
Yeah.
we're just trying to keep it light, just have fun with it, and that's why we thought that response was a little off kilter. That's why I identified it, highlighted it, and poke some fun at it. That's what we're doing here. It's a little satire. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little satire. But either way, I think some of the people picked up on it. And here's some comments from Phil de Williams underscore art. Gonna have to go with Alanis Morissette from Dogma. Remember when she played God in Dogma? An underrated movie. I loved the movie Dogma
Is
with
that
Buddy Christ.
was Ben Affleck in that?
Yeah, of course. Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Jay and Silent Bob.
Right,
It
right,
was
right, right.
Chris Rock,
I
George
don't remember
Carlin.
seeing it like from start to finish, but I'm sure it was good.
Oh, do yourself a favor. By the way, for the male listeners out there, do yourself a favor and watch that. There's a scene where Miss Selma Hayek is a dancing girl, and she
Huh?
comes out, the candy girl. Let me tell you something. Talk about God. Oh my God. All right. From Obi Nam Kenobi, he says, see you on the other side, Ray.
Ooh.
From Greg Girth, Rune King Thor, number one, he says.
What's that?
I don't know. Rune King Thor, but he's number one, apparently.
The Thor is better than
Is that a typo? What is Rune, Rune?
Rune.
Rune King Thor? Like, I don't know. I don't know what that is. We're gonna have to look it up. Probably one of our like comic book Marvel nerds out there will know the definition of who is Rune King. Well, Rune King Thor was actually the leader of a world when Thor was taken over by an evil spirit and probably the most powerful god out there. No, I don't know who Rune King Thor is. I'm sure he was pretty badass. All right. Let's get to a couple more comments from Mr. Jim Barnhart 15874. Let me start by saying every episode keeps getting better and better every week. Second thing, whole wings blow unless you get them from the Chinese store in the hood for $3 with fries. Last but not least, the color blue is Timmy's color. Embrace it. Just my
Ooh,
opinion. Timmy,
I got blue on tonight, baby.
I think he was referring to the baby blues. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You are, I'm sure, quite you would be in a Tar Heel uniform.
oh.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see. A crew of us got flagged some toss from an Islanders game because we were louder than the home crowd. We had t-shirts made that said "Get off our island." That's from Mr. He Stiff talking about being a fan, a Flyers fan, the best fans in the biz. They were down 2-0 earlier tonight. They came back. It was 3-2. I'm not sure what the score is right now. Timmy, any updates? Do you know?
it, it was 4-2.
Uh,
It looks like it's 4-3.
4-3. That look, you know what? We've lost the last couple, and I know we were following the Flyers. We're in on the Flyers. I'm wearing my Flyers shirt, and the losses they've had, they still I think fought in those games. You know what I mean? It's not like they're lay down losses. You still have it thought that oh they might come back and win this, or they had a lead and stuff like that. Middle of the season, I'm still very hopeful and optimistic for the Flyers, and I like the trend that they're going on. A couple injuries today though that I think hurt us. On the IR, didn't they announce someone's going on the IR today?
Yeah. Tippett went on the IR.
And then Hart
A-
asked for his
and
release or something.
no, he didn't ask for his release. He asked for a leave of absence. So there's some controversy going on with Carter Hart, stemming back from about 6 years ago. That I mean, I'm not going to speculate, but I mean, this is what's out there. There's a sexual assault allegation that was made against the World Junior Hockey team that Carter Hart was on. And ironically, another goalie had just asked for the same leave of absence in the league who was on that same team. So a little ironic that both goalies that were on that same team, 8 years ago or 6 years ago, asked for their leave of absence within 2 days of each other. So hopefully,
It's just a
whatever it
coincidence,
is
and
just a coincidence, and maybe who knows? You can't really
yeah.
speculate against that stuff, but that's what's out there. But look, regardless, like to your point, the Flyers have been playing pretty decent hockey. They've lost two in a row. They're down 4-3 right now. And they're playing against top tier teams here. They played against um the Colorado Avalanche, which are like they're probably one of the better teams in hockey right now. Nathan McKinnon has been on an all-time point streak. Probably the best player in the NHL as of right now. They lost to them 7-4, but it was much closer than the score indicated. And then they lost. The only disappointing loss I think in the last three games was the Ottawa Senators loss, where they had a 3-0 lead and lost 5-3.
Yeah.
But this team does not give up, which is a great sign of character and coaching, in my opinion. So again, they were down here in this game, 3-1 and 4-2, and now they're back 4-3 right now. So 5 minutes
Hey,
left in the game.
hopefully they can find a way to come back, tie that up, maybe win it maybe even win it in regulation or overtime. That would be great. Let's go Flyers. We're on board. If you're not watching them, now's the time because man, they're a fun team to watch and we're hoping for big things for the rest of this season. All right, speaking of big things, Tim. Man, oh man. What a game last night. 76ers. I'm wearing my Sixers hat. We're all fired up. 70 points. Mr. Joel Embiid, an all-time Sixers game, the most points ever scored by a 76er in a game. And just one of those games that you're like, wow, especially on the anniversary of when Kobe did his 81 to do it then and just put on a show in front of the fans. This team, like we're kind of saying with the Flyers, there's something different about them. It's, they're doing things different this one, and I don't want to get too excited because of the heartbreak the Sixers have heartache they've given us over the last decade. But man, I feel like with Nick Nurse and this team, and they're starting to gel and come together, and the younger players are getting better, and Embiid is just as good as it gets. If he can stay healthy, man, I really feel like this is a team that can finally make a run.
Yeah, it's the one thing that what you just there, Tom, was at the end. If he can stay healthy, and that's the thing that Sixers fans have been really begging for years. Really, is I mean, this is being constant second round exit in the playoffs every single year, and it's beautiful, right? Like the season that's unfolding. Nick Nurse has been hired as the head coach. He's really unlocked more offensive potential in both Tyrese Maxey and in Joel Embiid, and you even see a little bit from Tobias Harris too as well. And you have role players surrounded those three guys, and who knows if they make a deal at the deadline. But I mean, things are going in the right direction. Joel Embiid is having one of the most prolific offensive scoring seasons of all time. He's mentioned in the same breath as Will Chamberlain, Michael Jordan. He's doing things that haven't been done in over 30 years in terms of his scoring. And the one thing that you hope is that it translates into the postseason. And that's what it hasn't done in the past. So the one caveat to I would also say is that I think in some cases Sixers fans have taken Joel Embiid for granted because of the early second round exits in the playoffs. And he is an all-time player. He's an all-time talent, and what you're witnessing right now from Joel Embiid is something that will probably not be done for a long period of time. So, if you have an opportunity when you're sitting around at home and you're not doing anything else, go on a Sixers game and pay attention to this guy because he is an absolute stud.
Yep. Love Joel Embiid and definitely going to be following the Sixers moving forward. A lot of season left with them. Hopefully they just like we were mentioning stay healthy. There's been some rumors about them. Who are they getting from uh there were some rumors about them getting someone from the Trailblazers. I forget his name. But either way, I don't know if they necessarily need that. I just like the direction they're heading and I wanted to mention that. All right, Tim. We had a big week this last week. Uh-oh. What's going on? What are you going to say?
Nothing.
Oh,
I'm listening. I'm
I thought
just
you were ready to go. All right, so we got the weather. The weather, Timmy. You know, we're weather reporters now. And we had a big weekend this past weekend. It's been 3 years. It's been a while since we've gotten some snow. And I don't know about you. I love the snow. Interesting week to have it on Monday. We got Martin Luther King Day. Kids are off. On Tuesday, snow lightly, right? Ice, more ice than anything. Kids
yep.
are off. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, snow. They're off again. We get the 2 days at school. People are been out of shape of that. It worked out okay for me and my wife's schedule that we could handle this. I love the snow. I love getting out there with my kids. I love that him having fun, experiencing the snow. Growing up, there's something magical about snow. You love it. You love to be out in it, sledding, building forts, snowman, snowball, the whole deal. It's fun. Yes, are there some annoying parts to it? Sure. When you got to shovel, when it's cold, when the ice is out there, there's some things that are a pain. But man, when we just got done sledding down a little hill, my kids laughing, having fun. Let's go again. And then we go in and we make a little hot chocolate. Doesn't get much better than that, Tim. Of course, I had put a little whiskey in mine, made sure not to mix them up. That could have been bad. Ah, Timmy,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this snow?
Dude, I love this now. Look, when you went to school around here, whenever it snowed, you see the forecast, you tune on whatever 610, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. You'd always look for that school code, right? You'd look for the forecast to see how many inches you're going to get, and then if you're going to be off. Now, I guess that doesn't really matter anymore because everyone's doing virtual schooling now thanks to COVID. But it still there was always excitement about getting snow. And it's transitioned from, when you were a kid to not having school to an adult and not having work and everyone calls for a snow day and it's just like, hey, let's go pack the local bar, let's walk up the street, everyone grab a stool and we'll just get completely hammered as possible. And then we can walk home. Because for the most part, anyone that's going out during the snow is more than likely probably not driving. So as a bartender, and a bar owner, I would say it probably makes you feel a little bit more comfortable that you don't have patrons drinking and driving all over the place, right?
Sure.
Um, but like for the most part, like that's the thing that you're really like focused on is like, man, you see the snow coming down. Is it going to land? Is it not going to land? Is it sticking? Like you get like really excited as the snow comes down. And once it starts getting like heavier and heavier and heavier, there's just like that kind of feeling inside. You're like, yes, like finally, we get to enjoy a day off or whatever. Like playing for because it really puts things at a standstill. And whether that be a detriment to most people or not, it's just a fun time. Like people get freaked out and they go to the grocery store and they buy every freaking grocery that you can possibly imagine for like they're gonna get snowed in, like it's the end of the world. Like
Yeah.
we're in Philadelphia here, folks. Like
Yeah.
it's there's not going to be a catastrophic snowstorm that's going to keep you bedridden for months. Like relax. Um, but like that would just be like the best. We used to go one of the things that we used to do here locally would be to head over to the golf course over to Walnut Lane. And Walnut Lane was like the premier sledding grounds for Roxborough Mania. Like you just park right over there, like right on Henry Avenue. Everyone would unload their coolers of beer, and then you sled all day and all night, and it would just turn into just like a party. It was just fun. But that's where you cut your teeth at. Like that's where the big sledding hills were, is going over to Walnut Lane and going down those uh those those different holes on the golf course and stuff like that. It was
What
pretty
is
fun.
hole four? Is that the one? Hole four or
Now it was so back in the day that was 17. So 17 was well actually it was 14. 14 where like the dam was like you crossed over that little bridge like you go down in the valley and then come back up and then it's the par three and then the par three and then the whole alongside Henry Avenue. But those were yeah, there was some
Oh,
pretty
okay.
steep hills over there. And if you didn't slow up, you'd end up in that little creek there with your
Yeah.
sled. So,
Ah, that's
but
funny.
no, I love the snow. I love it was good to see finally come back. It was like a nice return. Yeah, we got 2 different days of snow and it was fun. And honestly, for me, being able to go sledding with my daughters because I don't really get to experience a ton of snow with them was all time. I was able to take them out and take them sledding, and we had a ball. We built a snowman, but we really couldn't because the snow was all powdered. Did you notice the texture of the snow? It was just like
Yeah, it was tough, like we were thinking snowman first. It wasn't really a ton of snow, and then we went fort. So we ended up building a fort, kind of packing it down, digging a hole, more just a tunnel for the
yeah,
kids to kind of slide through. And they're like, "Oh, we have a fort slash tunnel," and they seemed
yeah.
to like it. But we did what we could with what we had, and it was fun. I enjoyed it, and it seems like the kids really liked it too.
Yeah. I mean, shoveling sucks. Salt in the pavement sucks. All that other stuff sucks. But like, I mean, my street blows because they don't plow my street. So whatever I have outside is usually like 10 times worse than anywhere else. So like I look out and I'm like, oh my God, it must be horrible out there. And then like you get to the surrounding area and everyone's dug out, the streets are clear, and I'm like, what the hell? It's like Antarctica on Larson Street. Everywhere else, it looks like a normal day in Roxborough.
So I guess it just is a plow not fitting down there? Is there not like
It's a
someone
two
that can
it's a
come by?
it's a two-way street, right?
One
But
lane.
it's a one lane and
Yeah,
it's a pain in the ass, and everyone stays in their parking spot. So like they don't like to plow, so they don't plow cars in.
right.
It's just it gets naturally plowed by like cars going up and down the street, and that's it. So like they don't touch the street. It sucks.
What
But
happens when there's like a foot of snow?
well, you just got to suck it up. You got to dig your car out. That's it. You usually dig your car out. There's mounds of snow on the street. Like Blizzard of '93 was nuts. Dude, we had a pile of snow in our front yard, probably 8 feet to 10 feet high. It was nuts to the point where like me and my brother were jumping off the roof and into this pile of snow because we were like doing like elbow drops off a 20-foot roof into a
Right.
like an 8 foot pile of snow. It was fun. It was just so much fun. But yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, well, Schmidt Lavelle, we love the snow. We're aware of how there can be some inconvenience of it, but more snow the better. Let's go. Let's get another storm in before the end of this season. All right, Timmy, I want to talk to you about something right now. And it's been something I've been seeing on social media lately. And it's not the first time I've seen it, but I watch it and I'm like, what the hell? Like, what is going on with this? Right. Recently, I've been seeing what's been called the orange test. Okay. And
Mhm.
so a young lady will have her boyfriend or husband or whatever, and she will say to him, I really could go for an orange. And you'll hear the guy go, oh, yeah, yeah, an orange, And she goes, can you get me an orange? And, he'll be like, okay. Do you want to? Here's an orange. Gets the orange. She goes, peel it for me. And that, Timmy, is the test. She films the whole thing. Will the guy peel the orange or will he not? Does he love and care about his girlfriend or wife enough to peel this orange for her? Or does he not, Timmy? What these things that I've been seeing, another one was pouring mustard onto the counter and seeing if he'll clean it up right in front of him. Pouring mustard on the counter and say, can you clean that up for me? And if he does, he's a good husband or boyfriend. What the F is this? You know what I mean? Like, what's
So
going
this,
on? Those are
so
some
this,
crazy women. Am I right?
this is the trend.
I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it on, and it's not the first one I've seen. There's other ones where like there'll be like a text that they send about this and that, and you got to see how they react, or you got to ask them a certain question and then see. You know what I mean? Like there's just a bunch of different tests out there that I'm seeing. I'm like, who comes up with this crap? Peel the orange for me.
I mean, there are some funny things that I've seen in the past, where certain members of the relationship look stupid or look funny, and some of the TikToks are pretty hysterical. But like, what are we trying to do here? We're just trying to, make an example of our loved ones, like in a
Yeah.
social. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the point behind this thing? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? Like that.
Yeah, it seems almost like it's like
And clearly,
insulting.
if like they don't do it right, or if it's not funny, they're not going to post it. So what's the fallout when he realizes you're recording him, and like he doesn't go for the stupid ass prank or the whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish? I would love to see that video where the where the boyfriend gets pissed off and they start going at each other and it turns into a fight.
Well, some of those you see, it's like, oh, can you peel it? And he's like, no, like, why am I, what do you can peel it, go ahead. Here's the orange. I'm not gonna peel it for you. You won't peel an orange for me? You won't do it? Like, you're not gonna peel this orange for me? He's like, no,
No, you're an
peel it
adult.
yourself.
You
Here
can
you go.
figure it.
It will, I just thought it would be something that you could do. You could peel this orange for me just because, to show that you love me so much. And he's like, no, it would be showing I don't love you because I'm not allowing you to do something for yourself.
Yeah.
It was the argument I heard on the one, but regardless, it's just so ridiculous. Enough of
Well,
these tests, these
these
we got
people
enough shit going on.
they try to push these things, and like they try to do. I mean, look, I mean, I guess we're doing the same thing. We're doing our podcast. Everyone does a podcast, and we're trying to make sure, not make sure. I mean, look, we enjoy what we do here, right? We're having fun. We like to chat. We feel like we have a good rapport here. Like these people that are doing these tests and things like that, they're just trying to do the next best thing. They're trying to catch a fad, or they're trying to start a hashtag or something like that where it catches fire and all of a sudden they're popular, their videos go viral, and all of a sudden they don't have to work anymore and they become a social media superstar. That's what I think we're talking about here, Tom. That's the thing that we have to stay away from.
Should we come up with a test for our significant others and film it and see how they react?
I'm all here, brother.
How about make me a sandwich? Can you make me a sandwich?
I think my significant other would do that.
So I think mine would too.
So what
I don't
kind of
know.
test was that?
Yeah.
What happens?
Should we ask him to take out the trash?
Tell you what, my significant other has got me doing all sorts of shit lately.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Eh,
I
I'm
think
talking about.
maybe I'm being filmed. I'm gonna end up on one of these TikToks doing all sorts of shit.
You'd gladly peel an orange. Please,
I
here. Just peel an orange and give it to her. Be like, here. All right? Enough. Here, take it.
let's
Show me
just
what you're getting at. Here's the
let's get
orange.
this over and done with. Here's your orange. Where's the mustard?
Where's the camera? Well, we all know what's going on here. I'm not
Yeah.
some fool. I'm on the TikTok. All right, Timmy. Let's take it further now. Let's keep going. We got a viral video this week. Everyone's seen it. Everyone in Philadelphia knows the Kansas City Chiefs were playing against the Buffalo Bills. First and foremost, I feel bad for the Bills and I feel bad for their fans. I was ready for them to win that game. I feel awful for the kicker. Not that it was just his fault, and I just feel bad for the franchise and the fans, and how much suffering is this team gonna go through? But I'm
It's
watching that game, Tim, and they're cutting obviously to Miss Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce's boyfriend, and lo and behold, out of the box, into the stands, no shirt on, chugging beers, cheering for his brother, our own Jason Kelce. I would say the majority of people out there love it. They love this video. They love seeing their guy out there partying up, cheering for his brother, doing his thing. Tim, I didn't love it. I didn't love it. I wasn't too happy with it. Part of the main reason is I didn't want the Kansas City Chiefs to win. One, I'm sick of Taylor Swift and that whole crew and that whole thing. I'm not a big Travis Kelce guy. I don't like him very much. I mean, I'm not like in a bad way. I just don't feel like I don't know. I just don't. There's something I don't know. I don't love it. And I didn't love seeing Jason Kelce out there shaking around, going nuts. The biggest fan for the Kansas City Chiefs. But hey, whatever. What are you gonna do?
I just think that you need to really think about this, Tom, because while Jason Kelsey is still a member of the Philadelphia Eagles, he was first a member of the Kelsey family,
True.
which means that his brother, in my opinion, comes first no matter what. So if his brother
Mm.
plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, I don't see a problem with him cheering for those Kansas City Chiefs since he's already been eliminated from the playoffs. It's a different conference, and his brother happens to be one of the best players on the team. Um, Eagles fans get up in arms about other players wearing different hats when they're playing for the Eagles. Look, unless they were born here, unless they were raised here, they have allegiances elsewhere. Like, I mean, I was born in Philadelphia. If I was a professional athlete playing for the Dallas Cowboys, I'd be wearing my Philadelphia Phillies hat or Philadelphia Eagles hat. Probably not the Eagles hat during the season, but I mean, I would still be a Philadelphia sports fan. Like that's the way it works. Uh the whole like Jason Kelsey thing, like the way he was acting at the game, I absolutely love. If you followed it all throughout the day, there was viral videos of him doing I think he was whacking beers out of a bowling ball at the Bills tailgate. He was tailgating with Bills Mafia. Then he went up into the box. He was shirtless in the box pretty much for the entire game, which is ridiculous. He hopped out of the box and whacked a beer with like a bunch of the Bills fans in the crowd. And then he got a little girl, brought the little girl up to the suite and showed the sign to Taylor Swift. Like the dude's just an all-time guy. Like if you hate on him, so be it. But like this is stuff that we've been seeing for over a decade now, over 13 years in Philadelphia, where he goes down to the shore. He does all these other different events. He gets dressed up in mummers gear. He does a crazy speech. He whacks beers. Like, this is what Jason Kelsey is. This is who we come accustomed to love. This is why we think he's an all time player. I mean, there's nothing about what he did on Saturday or Sunday night that's anything different than what we've seen from Jason Kelsey over the course of the last 12 years. So if you want to poo-poo it because of the whole Travis Kelsey and whatever her name is, what's
I just,
Taylor Swift,
I
like
don't know
quit
if it's
shaming me,
something
dude.
wrong with me. I didn't love it. I didn't love it's not for me. I'm like, ugh, and like that behavior I don't normally shun. I don't know if it's like, and it's like you maybe part of it is you can never say anything about Jason Kelce. You can never be negative about Jason Kelce. You can't even say like, come on, man. Like, I'm not like I fucking hate I don't know why I've grown to hate Patrick Mahomes. I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? I don't know why. He's a great player, he's all time, but he just seems like, especially the way he acted when they lost to the Bills in the regular season. I really wanted the Bills to win that game. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But
No,
I
I
just
wanted to
am not a like I don't know. I just didn't love it. It's just not for me.
listen.
And I love the partying. I love the thing, the whole story with his deal and whatever. But I'm just like, nah, I'm out on that.
Well,
Maybe it's because I'm still not over the way this season played out for us. And good for him for being over it and moving on and just going on and cheering for his brother. Me, I'm just still bitter about how this whole season played out and how pathetic it was.
well, you also have to realize that he's a player and you're a fan.
Right.
And usually it's going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt them. But I mean, in this case, I
You
think Jason Kell.
think?
Yeah. I mean, well, I mean, there's certain guys that buy into the franchise and buy into being an Eagle and whatever team they play for a lot more than most people. But I mean, I would say normally, guys, fringe guys will just go home and move on and be done with it. But guys like Jason Kelce who really care and Fletcher Cox and these guys, like I think that'll hurt for them for a little while.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean they can't go out and have a good time. Like, you
I'm
kidding
not
me?
saying he can't. I don't know. I don't know what it was about this one. Maybe part of it's that, you can't say anything about Jason Kelce. Then I'm like, well, why not? Why can't I? Why can't I say I didn't like that? You know what I mean? It's like now I'm the bad guy because I didn't like he was cheering for the Chiefs. I know it was his brother, but I don't have it. I was never a Kelce. I don't have a loyalty to Travis. In fact, the name Travis I don't really care for either. Now that I think about it, who names their kid Travis?
Your your brother named Travis?
No, I don't know. I don't know many Travis. But in fact, the one Travis I did know, I actually liked him. Good guy. Whatever. Go do your thing. I'm sure we'll see him this week, you know, out there in Baltimore. You think he's gonna get the reaction in Baltimore that he got in Buffalo? Buffalo fans are like our kind of fans. You know what I mean? I
Sure.
feel like Baltimore fans maybe a little bit more like cutthroat.
Territorial.
Yeah. In a different
Uh,
type of way. Not that the Bills aren't territorial, but like, I just feel like they'd be a little bit more like F you, like they seem to be a man of the people in Buffalo. They were like, yeah, you're the man.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to play out for him. I doubt that he's going to be running around with his shirt off though again. I mean, maybe that was just a little celebration tactic after the Eagles season finally ended. He finally felt some relief. I don't know. Who knows? I
Maybe
can't
he
read.
was he was just happy to find out that we decided to get rid of our offensive and defensive coordinators, Timmy.
It could have been. That
Was
could have
that a
been.
good segue? Was that
That was a great segue.
all
That was
right?
a
So that leads us to our next topic. For the Eagles, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, both released this past week. Thank God. What do you think about this, Timmy? And maybe your thoughts for the future. Where would you like us to head into who fills those roles?
no surprise here for me. Um, yeah, I mentioned last week on the show that, like, look, you brought in two rookie offensive and defense coordinators, and it just seemed like they just were a little in over their heads. And moving forward, like, for the sake of the franchise, you better have somebody that is accomplished, that has an idea of what they want to do. When you're interviewing these people, you need to know what exactly their plan is for this offense because it is a well-oiled machine, and the potential there is just unlimited. And for anyone that's going to take this position as an offense coordinator, they're getting the keys to a Lamborghini, and they better be able to handle it. Now, again, there's a lot of other stuff that happens with like Jalen Hurts. You got to make sure that he's healthy and he's on board because there's another article that just came out of him out about him, which makes him seem like Carson Wentz 2.0. I'm not ready to move on from him at all. I think he has the opportunity to get himself right and get himself better. And they has the weapons around them to do so. You just need a coach that's going to be able to foster that talent and make sure they put a good product on the field. Now, the defensive coordinator, I think you all need somebody that's seasoned. There's talk about Ron Rivera, a couple of Mike Caldwell. There's a couple other guys that are being mentioned. These are seasoned vets. I think that's what you need to do is surround yourself with coaching veterans that are really going to get the best out of their talent. I think the defensive talent in itself was really something that hindered your defense altogether. But I mean, you just got to pick better players and you got to have better personnel on that side of the ball for it to work. So I hope to God it works out because if not, it's going to be an epic failure, and I think a lot of people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah. And part of me, just like us talking about it right now, thinks like sometimes, especially with Roseman and the Eagles, like in the past, they sometimes they outsmart themselves, and maybe they think like, oh, we'll figure it out with this guy and this guy, like that. This is a steal. They seem to do that. Like I want like a proven guy, like you're saying. Let's get somebody, especially on the defense, that's like proven and in the NFL, and then you got someone, offensive that has this scheme that really knows what they want and really has a plan, like you're saying, for where this offense is headed and something that fits with the players we have here.
And my biggest gripe right now is that there's two teams that are playing in the NFC and the AFC Championship that have incredible linebacker play. All right. The Eagles do not invest in any linebackers whatsoever. They just pick guys off the street and they say, hey, we can fill these guys in because of such an incredible defensive line. Look at what the San Francisco 49ers are doing and look at what the Baltimore Ravens are doing. They have Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen there in Baltimore. And then over on the other side, you have Drake Greenlaw and I forget the other guy. I forget his name. Jesus Christ. I don't know why it's slipping my mind now. But like they're both all pros. And they're just making play after play after play. And the Eagles don't have anyone, even with the pinky of talent that those guys have on both those teams. So invest in a linebacker.
Yeah. And we talked about that. We talked about Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. That's it.
We were talking about that when we covered the draft months ago, how they drafted these guys and we did not go after the linebackers, and it wasn't a priority. Seems to be like something where they think they're, if you're following the NFL, you're familiar with like the running backs a lot of times aren't as valued because you can swap them out, it seems, here and there, and you get you can get good running back play for not a hefty price tag. I feel like they think it's the same trend with linebackers, and maybe they need to put a little more emphasis on the linebacker and definitely in the secondary. All right, we'll see how that happens, but hopefully the team has something going out. Laurie's had a pretty good track record. So Roseman has his years up and down, and we've been a successful team since Laurie has taken over. A couple more Super Bowl wins would have been nice, but we'll see where that goes. Yeah,
One and two, Tom. 1-2 in Super Bowls in the last 20 years, Tom. 1-2.
yeah.
It probably should be 3-0.
It definitely should be 2-1. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But all right, Timmy. Let's get to our last topic of the night. That's going to be Christmas decor, Christmas trees. Christmas was by the time this airs, would be almost a month ago. And I guess we're trying to talk about the guidelines, the protocol, the limits of how long you can have these decorations up. And Timmy, I'm gonna let you take the lead on this one.
All right. So I love Christmas, one of my favorite times of year. Right? Um, One of my favorite things is putting up the lights. And Tom, I know you get into a little battle with your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like I was asked by my daughters this weekend, why do you still have your lights up? And I didn't really have a good answer for them other than pretty much laziness.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but at the same time, as the snow started falling down, Tom, I said, "My God, the lights look fantastic at nighttime with the winter. Like
Yeah.
it is that
Picturesque.
winter wonderland feel, Tom, and it's difficult to remove lights, with snow all over the place and it being wet out and stuff like that. So I think I bought myself another couple days, but I think right now we're on a good old fashioned Mexican standoff between me and my sister on who's going to take these lights down.
Oh man. Wait, who put him up?
She did,
Oh wow. Well, is
but
the deal if she puts him up, you got to take him down or something?
no, the deal was that, well, there was no deal because I put up the Christmas lights last year, and I was also made fun of and ridiculed for the way that I decorated. So she then said that she was going to take control. So I feel as if that means that, hey, if you want control of it, you take them up, you put them up, you take them down.
Oh boy.
And I've already taken the tree down. I've gotten all that stuff done. I've gotten the bulbs off. I got the lights down off the tree. Got the tree out in the trash. All that's all done and taken care of. I mean, there's only one thing left to do here, Tom. We're gonna be
Who's it
pushing.
gonna be? Who's
We're
gonna
gonna be.
take the lights down?
We're gonna be pushing St. Patty's Day. We're gonna have our house still decorated.
You know what you got to do? You got to get those ones that you can hit a button and they change colors. St. Valentine's Day comes
Yeah.
around, you make them pink, St. Patrick's Day, turn them green, and it's like, we'll never take them down. How about that? A little red, white, and blue for 4th of July. Why not?
Exactly.
I,
So
I
that's
like
that.
I like lights. I feel like we should all try to have lights up a little bit more often. Why not?
It does make for a nice look. You walk up and down the street, yeah, at nighttime, and you feel a little bit safer, actually.
Yeah. And it's just that more like you're saying, it gives you that feeling of like, what a nice area, what a nice place. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's just like, wow, I
There's
love
times,
being here.
there's times, there's also times like when I was younger, where like the houses would have like the flashing lights. Yeah, they would have like, and I felt like it was like the closest I could get to being in like a Billie Jean like music video. Where you're walking by, it's like, do, do, do.
Billie Jean is not my lover.
Yeah.
Just a
Like, look,
girl.
this thing's lighting up as I walk by. I gotta have something's going on here with me. I'm doing the MJ dance.
Oh man. Well, Timmy, I think it's time for us to beat it. If you know what I mean.
Oh, well, we had quite the thriller of an episode today.
Oh my God. All right, folks. Been another episode of Schmidt Lavelle. We hope you enjoy what we did. If you're not already doing it, now's the time. Give us that follow, that share, that subscribe. We love you. Timmy, anything you got to say to all the Schmidt Lavelleites out there before we sign off?
No, this show is cozy if you're Hannibal Lecter.
Oh my gosh. All right. New episodes every week. My name's Tom Lavelle. For Timothy Schmidt, you just listened to Schmidt and Lavelle, the hottest growing podcast in all of podcasts. Until next week, have a great weekend. We love you. God bless.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.